Hello everyone, good morning. I'm very pleased to be here today. My name is Judith Peterka in the Federal Ministry for Labor and Social Affairs. I'm heading the Artificial Intelligence in Work and in Society Observatory. What that exactly is, I'll tell you a bit about that later. But what I'd like to do now, I would like to give you an overview here at EMO what digitalization and AI is and how it changes the world of work of today and how it will change the world of work tomorrow. And I'd like to tell you how the federal government, and in particular the Federal Ministry for Labor and Social Affairs, contributes to shape this type of transformation. We have had digitalization today. It's a lot about to process information digitally, to digitalize work processes and ways of work. And one big driver of digitalization is artificial intelligence. There are many different definitions about artificial intelligence. It's a technology that keeps changing. There was an enquete committee of the federal German parliament that thought about it for 2 years. I brought along the definition which currently is in the regulation for in the ordinance for artificial intelligence. That's the coordinated version. It's about systems that have a certain degree of autonomy. We're talking about elements of autonomy on the basis of technology like machine learning, data or entries, process information, and thus come up with outputs and content. We've seen it with ChatGPT last November. It became pretty clear that AI is here, and we know that these technologies will change the work of many employees quite considerably. AI will change work, will change the organization, will change the content in many areas of work, and new areas will appear. AI will lead to new tasks, will reorganize tasks. At the same time, it's important to see what I brought along here, namely that we are rather at the beginning of the spread of this technology. These are data from 2021. This is before the publication of ChatGPT and other generative AI systems. But at this point of time, we can see that about 11% of the companies said that they are using AI technology. Germany is among the top group, the middle group of companies. It's in 2021, and 25% of employees state that they regularly work with an AI system. Those who say that are below the age of 35, usually male, higher qualified, and generate a higher income. We take it that no job, no profession will be completely automated. Individual activities and types of activities will be automated. And as to whether certain jobs will no longer be staffed because of the demographic change, depends also on the market economic situation. In economic terms, is it possible to replace these technologies, and is it doable in economic terms? The net effects of AI on the labor market cannot yet be determined. We can't give you a final assessment because we are more or less at the starting point of the technology. We take it that some activities will be replaced, but at the same time, there will also be a high level of productivity of employees, and thus there will be more demand, in particular for activities in the context of AI that underline the comparative advantages of people, in particular more emotional-based activities. Just recently, a study of the International Labour Organization has shown it quite clearly that lots of new jobs will be created. So we take it that the unemployment rate will not necessarily change, also because of the scarcity of labor, and that is probably going to become even more apparent. So far, AI had an effect on the type of work. Monotonous work was taken over by AI. Dangerous work content was taken over, which leads to motivation and satisfaction with work rising. And there was also work aggregation, more intensity of work, because some routine tasks were taken over, and through algorithmic management, there was more monitoring of the work available, which reduces the private activities of workers. People felt more monitored by the use of AI. There is no hint on negative effects, on more negative effects, but we are very much at the outset of this, so we can't actually give you a general assessment yet. With automation, we have to say they're good for tasks that are routine tasks, where the same things happen. It's in call centers where the same type of question needs to be answered time and again. AI can be used pretty well there. And with recent developments in AI, non-routine tasks, more cognitive-based tasks can be taken over or can be supported. Let's think about doctors, for example, that need to pass on a diagnosis. AI can help also with journalists. AI can provide a first draft of a text. In care, it would be a good idea if care documentation could be done by an AI and carers would have more time for caring tasks. For generative AI systems like ChatGPT or Bard, the literature is very much in its infancy. Same is true for study. Many of the articles are not yet peer-reviewed, so they have not been given the top quality seal of experts. What we see, however, is that generative AI seems to favor the higher groups of income and higher groups of qualification. Before it was different. There it was mainly going to the lower qualified jobs. That's something new. And what is also new is that the entire range of professions and jobs is involved, not just individual areas or individual lines of work. What we've seen from a study of Pennsylvania University is that 80% of queried employees said that they believe that about 10% of their activities can be supported or replaced by AI. 20% of employees said it would be 50% of their work. So you see the range that we're dealing with. What we've also seen is that there is a strong increase in productivity, up to 15%. With the same quality, with the same level of quality, tasks were performed quicker. And what we also see from studies is that AI does not improve the quality level of employees, but it reduces the amount of work. So even lower or less qualified workers, like maybe young people coming to the job, could move up faster to the quality level that more experienced employees have. This morning I took a taxi to come here. Many years ago, when there was no Google, taxi drivers had to learn what the best route would be to take. There were some who knew that pretty well and others not so much. With Google Maps, a system takes over and all the taxi drivers are basically on the same level. Just to give you an example for what I mean. What is also clear, as I said, there are many questions that are still left unanswered. And that's what the AI Observatory of the Federal Ministry comes in. We want to analyze these questions and take a closer look at it. So we've seen there are a couple of opportunities of AI, quite a lot of them actually. Productivity gains is one thing. There's also the possibility to work against scarcity of labor, in particular in public administration. There's lots of routine work and routine tasks that can now be taken over by AI. And something which is also quite important is that AI has the potential to support people various ways in the world of work. Think about people with learning disabilities or people with general disabilities. With assistance systems, they can be participating even better in the world of work. I also mentioned a couple of the risks. Polarization of the labor market is one thing. You can see that at the level of companies. There are some companies that are really well digitalized. They have the infrastructure system, data collection systems are set up pretty nicely, and for them it's much easier to establish AI systems, and thus the gap will yawn even wider between those who can do and those who can't do it. And this will also be true for the salary development for those who work with AI and without AI, and those who work in AI-enabled companies and not. We see a certain wage premium with people who know how to handle AI. And not to forget the aggregation of work. AI has the potential to discriminate if it works with historic data. That can even be made more difficult in HR development. That is a huge issue. And there it is quite important that we do not, that it's important that we protect people vis-à-vis the risks and at the same time provide them with opportunities. I'd like to talk about how the political sphere can support here. Now, AI needs clever employees. It is important that people have the possibility to react to the changed world of work. And the good news is that in Germany we are pretty well set up when it comes to general AI competency in the population. We see Germany is number 2 here, is ranking number 2 compared to other OECD countries. Germany is coming in second if you compare AI competencies, but we do have some catching up to do vis-à-vis the United States. This is general AI competence. It's not AI specialists, and you can't see that 1.6% of the German population has AI competencies. This is compared to the benchmark 1.6% more employees have AI competencies. But of course, we should not rest on our laurels. We know that in particular for companies, scarcity of labor is and professional labor is a problem for our companies. That's why we go for further training. The further training legislation was passed in July, which provides better sponsoring and provides the possibility to go for further training. And there is the further training strategy of the federal government, because it's clear you have to continue to learn and continue to go the way of further education. Now, this is a picture that is very important to me. We see that among AI experts in Germany, women are underrepresented, and that's also true in the international comparison. So there is a lot of catching up to do here as well. What is also important, the role of co-determination organization studies of OECD that were carried out in 6 or 7 countries. I think it's 7 countries. It says 6, but it should be 7. In processing industry and in financial industry have shown that in case of employees and workers' representation bodies being involved in the introduction processes of AI, business case was better, so people work more productively with the system. At the same time, the people case was better, so people were more satisfied in their work and the working conditions of the employees were better. So that's a very important instrument to shape digital transformation quite well. And there we are in a very good position in Germany. we have seen 43 to 45% of employers said that they involved the employees and the workers' representative bodies in the introduction of AI. And in Germany, the number was at 57%. So we are well on the way. But of course, co-determination needs to be strengthened. And the third lever as to how we can do digital transformation and shape it well is by needing clear legal stipulations. In Europe, we're well on our way. The AI Act is being negotiated in Europe. Trilogue is happening every day. We're getting new information, so they're working on this full throttle. And the thing is, we need to minimize the risk on a risk basis. The bigger the risk, the more requirements we need for an AI system. If an AI system suggests certain pieces of music in my music account, maybe that does not need to be regulated. But if it's about AI system that come up with decisions for awarding loans or giving support to people, then those are high-risk systems. They need to fall under other requirements. AI Act will be embedded in lots of other acts and guidelines, rules and regulations at the EU level and on the national level. We have rules on the protection of employees and data protection for employees, which are formulated in my ministry. I've given you an outline on what effects AI has on the labor market, even if we can't give you a complete assessment yet. And in a second part of my presentation, I would like to give you an overview over what the federal government does, and in particular my ministry, to support this transformation. There is a roadmap of the government. It's the AI strategy, which has been in existence since 2018, not just since the hype of ChatGPT. We've been active for a longer time. More than 160 measures and more than 1,000 projects were started to work with AI and to promote the introduction of AI. 3.5 billion euros were made available for this purpose. 3 ministries are leading. It's the Ministry for Education, the Ministry for Economic Affairs, and the Labor Ministry. These 3 ministries are leading and have been leading right from the start. Since AI will have major effects on the world of work, we take it that in 2035 there won't be a single job that won't have to do with AI. It makes a lot of sense to do it, and it made a lot of sense initially, but it is unique that a labor ministry is involved in the negotiation of an AI strategy. One measure of the AI strategy of the federal government is the AI Observatory for AI in labor and in society. It's a multifaceted project of the Federal Ministry for Labor and Social Affairs to design the social dimension of the transformation. First of all, it's about analyzing it. That's what I explained now. I presented a couple of results. You need to understand what exactly is happening in the companies. How do competency requirements change? What about satisfaction of work and productivity? How does that change when AI is being introduced? And from these findings, come up with recommendations to act for labor policies and social policies. At the same time, we also promote the use of AI in companies and in local authorities and authorities in general. I brought along 2 examples from research projects and analytical projects. We sponsor its AI economics with Maastricht University and the Institute for Job Research, where we do experiments in companies. One half of the employees gets AI, the other half doesn't, and then we compare what the direct effects are. That's the kind of gold standard in science, and it's quite unique worldwide that there are hardly such experiments around, and we do that together with companies in Germany, with 3 big German groups. And I'm quite looking forward to the final results. You see, the project is still up and running. And a second project that we sponsor is an international comparative study. We want to know how Germany fares in the international comparison. By the way, we're better than people always imagine. In particular, in research and with our social partners, we are very well set up. We are sponsoring the DAS program of OECD, labor competences and productivity. Lots of content will be created that doesn't just influence politics in Germany, but with G20, it's being discussed, and in the EU Commission, and standards were created by NIS, the American standard body. It's got major influence, not just in Germany, but actually at an international level. At the same time, I said we promote the human-centered participation approach for introducing AI in companies. We do so by wanting to empower employees and employee representative bodies to use AI. We know from studies that AI can be introduced successfully if it's done broadly. For this, we built up a network of stationary and mobile AI studies. Last one, our minister opened in Munich last week. Employees and works councillors are supposed to be shown the potentials of AI in a low threshold mode, but also the risks of AI are to be discussed to create a bigger openness and level of acceptance for AI technology. We're planning more than 250 events in the last 1.5 years. With AI information mobiles. And by the way, one is here on your way towards Hall 8. It's a little bus, and you can see demonstrators with which you can see quite nicely what AI can do in the world of work. Also, and this is, by the way, how it looks like, you can go there. We have the demonstrators at this site, and something else which would be interesting. When you have a company and you want the Info Mobile to come to you, then write to the email address ki-studios@iao.fraunhofer.de. Then we come to you, and we'd love to host workshops with your employees. At the same time, currently we have an ideas competition till the 16th of October. You can come in if you want to set up an AI studio. Do you have anything that we can help you with, and you want to carry out workshops? Or if you want to develop such demonstrators, please come to us and tell us about it. You see our minister here, how he works with one of the demonstrators. It is a battery gun developed with Bosch. It's really quite a complex procedure. It's a highly qualified job usually, but the system helps you and tells you when it works well and when you did not bolt as well. And you can try it out here.
Das letzte Projekt, das ich Ihnen noch vorstellen möchte.
And the last project which I would like to present to you is a project in which we're using AI with public authorities, especially in the administration of labor and social affairs, since in this administration, in this field, we speak about all of these connected institutions, such as the unemployment office, for instance. There are millions of activities, millions of tasks that pass through the desks of our employees, and there is a lot of potential that we're seeing for artificial intelligence and its employment. At the same time, it is very important that we be cautious and responsible with the use of AI, because a lot of the time you meet one of those agencies, one of these public agencies, when you're at a difficult point in your life. You may have lost your job, you may have had an accident. So there's some very sensitive data, if you will. So we created a network with all of those underlying public agencies where we have exchanges once a month on the implementation of artificial intelligence, what worked, what didn't, what advantages do people see. So we have also published some guidelines for the use of AI in those authorities, which now we're trying out with the use of lighthouse projects. So we're promoting those projects where AI gets introduced into those authorities, also doing so online. One use case is a project which we carried out together with BMAS, working in accident prevention, because actually in Germany, every third day a person dies at a construction site, which is incredible and it's awful. All of this data gets collected. People take pictures, and the data gets entered into spreadsheets. But there are so many construction sites that you can't actually inspect all of them. So in this case, we want to introduce an AI which would actually analyze all of that data and which would then produce recommendations for which construction sites should be inspected, thus saving us money. We're expecting a 2% potential, maybe even up to 10 to 20% of savings when it comes to this, these compensation payments. But what's more important is, of course, that we could save lives. That's all I had to say about the AI Observatory, and now I'm looking forward to the discussion.